Hey everyone, I'm Suzanne. If you see me looking this way, the way that I'm looking right now, it's because I'm looking at myself and I know I look cute. Just kidding. But feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will be uploading content from now. I'm just gonna have to make myself edit videos. This video is gonna be uncut and you guys can see from the title. I'm basically gonna be talking about my story, one of my stories from getting sexually assaulted at a young age, and it's all with commemoration of this month, sexual assault awareness. um, I hope that this YouTube video doesn't get taken down. I'm gonna not use certain words only because they could either trigger certain people or it could probably get taken down because of it. But I'm basically gonna get straight to the point. Well, when I was around 11 years old, I went to Bethune Middle School. I went there from 7th grade to 8th grade. They didn't have 6th grade there anymore the year that I went. They had just taken it off. But anywho, I used to live kind of sort of by, I live in Los Angeles, and I used to live by 62nd and Figueroa, or 62nd and Hoover, like in between there, in between Hoover and Figueroa. And anywho, every morning I used to go with these two girls to school, and there was this one morning where there's some guy waiting in the corner and he's on his bike, and one of the girls, she starts talking to him because he starts like asking her questions, and he's asking her like, oh, what are our names, how old we are, what school we go to, and like where do we live by. And she was giving him all that information. Mind you, he's a fucking stranger. And I remember I was pissed. I was like, girl, why the hell were you even like conversating with him? He's an older man. Like what the fuck, like why are you giving him our information? Second of all, like you could give yours, but don't fucking be giving mine. Anywho, after that, every freaking morning he would be waiting there, and it ended up getting to a point where the two other girls started getting rides from their parents in the morning. I had asked both of them, you know, like if I could get rides. One of the girls I couldn't go with, and the other one, sometimes she would go to school late, so I didn't always get a ride, and he would always be there. Like I would take the bus every freaking morning. My family, they at the time, they weren't financially stable enough to where they could afford a car, you know. Well, and then not just that, but my grandma and my tia, they were fucking scared to drive. I don't know why, but it runs in our family where we're kind of like scared to drive. Like I don't know, like I'm still trying to get over that fear. Like I still haven't driven in a freeway. Anyways, back to my point. I hate that I do that with my stories. That morning, the guy, he's waiting there and he's blowing me kisses and stuff, and I felt really uncomfortable. So I went, there's a liquor store right by the bus stop, and I remember I went in and I was telling the guy, like, there's a guy outside, I feel really uncomfortable, can I please wait in here by the time like the bus gets, like for the time that the bus gets here and stuff. And when I see that the bus is gonna come, I didn't see the guy outside anymore. I was like, oh, he probably left. And right when I'm going outside, dude, he was like, I guess hiding on the side of the door or something, or like on the side of the building, and he ends up grabbing my ass, and he's like, aquí siempre voy a estar esperándote. And for anybody who doesn't know Spanish, he basically said like, I'ma always be here waiting for you. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And after that, I ended up going, when I got to school, I ended up going to the principal's office, and I started telling him about my experiences, that this guy would always be following me, he would be waiting for me. Sometimes I'll walk to the next bus stop and he'll like follow me there, and he'll blow me kisses. I was like, dude, like I feel really uncomfortable. So the principal ended up calling my aunt. He told her the situation also, because he was like, why haven't you told your family? And I was like, well, it hadn't gotten to this extent till this day, you know. Like I wasn't minding it till this day, till he finally like touched me, you know. Not that I wasn't minding it, it's just like I wasn't putting too much attention to it, you get me? Like I don't know, like I would just like be like, oh, like he's just one of these weirdos. And so anywho, the principal ends up going the next morning to that parking lot. He's parking there, and my aunt decided to walk with me in that morning. And she told me like, okay, like I'm gonna be behind you, so that he doesn't really know that I'm coming with an adult. You get me? Like they were just trying to see if he would do anything. And okay, the girls weren't there either that time, so they like I said, they kept getting rides, and then they just weren't, they weren't thinking about me. If they see this video, yes, bitch, y'all weren't fucking thinking about me. Um, fucking. So yeah, my aunt was walking behind me, I mean, and the principal was in his car, and literally, right when I'm crossing the street, when I get to the corner, he grabs me by the arm and stuff, and then my aunt starts punching him, and then the principal, look, I'm like freaking stuttering, I can't even speak my fucking story because I'm getting panicked and shit, like going back into that moment. But the principal gets out of the car, he says something, and the guy panics and everything. And my aunt, she's like shorter than me, and she's like, she couldn't do much, and the guy ended up escaping, and he gets on his bike, and he like biked it away, and the principal starts like following him in his car and shit. But the principal ended up losing him. But they seen it with their own eyes that this guy is a weirdo. And after that, my aunt was like, okay, like, hell no, like, I'm gonna be walking with you every freaking morning, watch you get on the bus and everything. She was actually saying that she would actually take me on the bus, actually. I remember. Okay, so the guy ends up disappearing, literally disappears for like a few weeks. And my aunt, she wouldn't pick me up from school though. That's the thing. That's where it all started getting weird again. I used to go to swimming practice in middle school. So I remember that when I was coming out of my swimming class or whatever, I got out like around 6. So I didn't have no one to walk with at that day. Like it was crazy. It was just that one day that I had no one to walk with, like because my homegirls didn't I guess one of my homegirls that would walk with me after school, after the swim class, she didn't go to school that day. So I remember that day when I was walking, this is Gatita, by the way, my daughter. That day when I was walking from school, the guy ended up grabbing me. I was walking like by an alley, and it was one of those, like when it's daylight savings time or whatever. So it was already dark, like by 6, and he grabbed me and put me in the alley, and he was basically like grabbing my vagina and stuff, and he was telling me like, and he was choking me, and he was telling me like, yo siempre voy a estar aquí, like yo no sé por qué te andas corriendo, like he was telling me like, why are you running away from me, like why are you trying to get away from me, like I'm always gonna find you. And I at that point I started feeling like, I started yelling and stuff, and I started kicking him. And it's crazy because there was some man that passed by in that very moment, and he started running to him, and he was like, I'm gonna call the cops, and I don't know what. And the guy, again, he ends up leaving, and I remember I was just so fucking scared. That guy ended up calling my aunt. We ended up calling the cops. So like the cops already knew. They already had a description of him and everything. And I told them that he would wait. I basically told them the whole story and everything. And so the cops ended up getting involved. And again, for a few days, I didn't see him no more. I remember the principal was starting to give me rides in the morning. And I remember that day. Well, this one day, freaking, I'm getting out of class, and I was with my little friends. I think we were like in nutrition or something. It's basically like kind of like lunch, but earlier in the day. And I remember that the guy ended up showing up. He was right there, like on the other side of the gate. And from what other people told me is that he had a gun. I didn't see the gun, but I just remember him telling me, like, he was just being a weirdo. Like, he was being a straight up weirdo. And then he was like, te dije, like, yo siempre voy a saber dónde estás, or whatever. And he fucking, I just remember, like, I was crying. Everything got blurry. That's why I didn't see the gun. But I just remember crying, and I was like, leave me the fuck alone. Like, I was telling him in Spanish, ya déjeme en paz. Like, ¿por qué me estás persiguiendo en todos los lados, you know? And my friends and all of us, we started like yelling to the teachers and the staff and shit. And then they put the school on lockdown. I don't know if other people remember in Bethune, but there was a lockdown one day, and it was basically because of him. They were trying to find him and stuff, and you know, he had a gun on him, so that was basically why. After that, I seen on the news that there was some guy in his description that had got that was wanted or whatever because he had raped a 15-year-old girl, and that he would do the same thing to her. Like, he would wait at the bus stop or whatever. Like, everything was just so fucking crazy, and I was like, bro, like, I'm so fucking lucky that that one day there was the guy that passed by, because I could have gotten, you know, I already said the word, and I shouldn't have said the word because it's a trigger warning, like I said. And yeah, that's basically one of my stories of how I got sexually harassed. I will, like, never forget that. I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget that guy. I'll never, you know, like, now I see myself as somebody that has a lot of issues, and not just because of that incident, but because of other incidents. You know, my parents not being there for me in life, and that's something that I can always get into if you guys ever have questions. But this video was basically about my story, my incident, like, you know, one of my incidents or whatever of feeling sexually assaulted or not being respected, you know. And it's just, I'm more scared because I got a beautiful baby girl, you know, and I gotta prepare her for all the evil and ugly in this world. But anywho, I'm gonna just sum it all up because it's already a long video. I've already passed the 10-minute mark, but thank you for watching, if you stayed watching it. Like, not like, I don't care. Either ways, you're still gonna be watching me, bitch. Just kidding, but subscribe to my channel for more content. Thank you. Bye.